A Quiet Place getting a spinoff movie. I guess I read that headline and just saying that it was a green lit. It just kind of struck me weird because I love A Quiet Place 1. Universally acclaimed movie. I mean, It's a good movie. A lot of people liked it. People love John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Like I think it can be a cash cow property. It didn't really feel like when I watched the movie like it was a franchise movie.
Yeah.
But I can at least see getting a trilogy out of it. You know, I can see. And that being said, if you take a step back and look at the world and the times that they live in the movie, I could see there being world building possibilities. I don't know that they actually did any world building in the movie, but I could see the seeds just existing. I don't think they're growing yet, but there's seeds that could exist. But it's just strange that to me to go ahead and like greenlight that kind of thing when we're about to get A Quiet Place 2, which it was supposed to come out this year, but it got pushed back to I think it's coming out like March or something.
Yeah, a full year.
Yeah, it got pushed back. It was like one of the first movies to get pushed back from COVID. But it got pushed back, and I'm very interested. Like, I mean, when it comes out, I'll go to the theater and see it immediately. But it wasn't like a movie that I'm like, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, well, they're making another one. I kind of didn't expect that, but go ahead, cool. Just go ahead and do one. That's fine. But I feel like when the series, I mean, obviously the first movie is proven, but I don't feel like it's proven as a franchise yet. So to go ahead and be like, we're going to do a spinoff movie, I'm like, I don't know that I care about this without Emily Blunt and John Krasinski yet. Like, I feel like they need to show something. And so I originally I saw the news and I was like, oh, I don't know that I'm even a fan of that. But then I like did a double take when I started looking into it and saw that Jeff Nichols is writing and directing it. And I was like, wait. When you say spinoff, I'm not going to lie also. Spinoffs for me kind of have a bad rep in my head where it's not that they can't be good, but I've never seen a spinoff be better than the original. And I've never seen a spinoff really. Maybe I'm missing one. You know, maybe they're out there. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I rarely find a spinoff series or even just movie like really hit. Like even if they're decent, I don't know if they justify their existence. And so I'm like typically against it. But then I see Jeff Nichols being tapped to write and direct it. And I'm like, wait a second. Like Jeff Nichols is a director that I guess I trust enough to be like, it's strange enough. He actually fits with the franchise to me. I'm like, wait, okay. I can see how this isn't like going to be a massive franchise, but like I can see him I feel like he played really well in that world.
Yeah. Yeah. I pretty much trust that if Jeff Nichols is attached to something, it's going to be a quality film. It's also really interesting because he hasn't made a movie since 2016 where he had Midnight Special and Loving come out in the same year.
He hasn't made a movie since.
He hasn't made a movie since.
I hadn't heard from him in a while.
He was writing a movie called, I think it was called Alien Nation, and it was a remake of an 80s like sci-fi movie, I think. I'm not really familiar with it. But he was writing it, and it was supposed to be like a really different take on it, and it was going to be like a studio movie for him, which he doesn't really do. And he was like talking about how excited he was for it, and he was working really hard on it, and he was writing it. And then I think it was when Fox got bought by Disney. There was he basically said like, I don't know if this movie's ever going to get made because, you know, it was a Fox, I think it's a 20th Century Fox movie. And I don't think Disney showed any interest in it. So it basically just got shelved, and he'd been working on it for like 3 years.
Wow.
And like writing it for 3 years. And it got shelved. So I was like, when I heard that, I was like, what's he going to do next? Cause it takes him a long time to work on movies.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, it normally takes him like 4 years to come out with a movie. And he just spent 4 years on one movie that's not going to get made now.
Yeah.
So seeing him attached to this, I'm actually really excited for.
I think his projected release date is not far either. I think it's like 2022.
Well, I'm sure. I think he's also working like with Krasinski on it.
Yeah,
too.
I
like,
think
it's not just.
It's supposedly a story or a concept from Krasinski himself. Like it's an idea that he had. I mean, obviously, I doubt it's like fully fleshed out, but it's like it's a concept from Krasinski. So, like I said, I was like very much like, who would want that? But then I'm like, okay, Jeff Nichols. I'm not even a massive fan of the director. I know you're a big fan of his work. But I enjoy his movies, but most specifically, what I know from the movies that I've seen of his is that He knows how to tell a story, which is the most important part of directing, contrary to popular belief. But he really knows how to tell a story. And I think that his style really works in the Quiet Place universe, because it doesn't sound like they're just like, when they say spinoff or, you know, they're making this into a series, you know, it doesn't make it seem like they're trying to turn it into a big franchise, like a blockbuster. Like, it's obviously a blockbuster, but it's like, oh wait, actually this might have a niche of its own.
One of the things that I know about Jeff Nichols that it's why I always look forward to everything that he does, is that he's never going to do something that he doesn't want to do. Mm-hmm. Like, he's never going to work on a movie that he's not happy with. Like, because he was offered Aquaman, which is kind of a bizarre choice, but he was offered Aquaman, and he just knew that he wouldn't be happy doing a studio movie like that. So the fact that he is moving into a studio movie, to me tells me that he trusts that they're going to let him do what he
almost makes it seem like it was like, maybe he was, I mean, I have no idea what the process was like, but like maybe he knows John Krasinski or was handpicked by John Krasinski, and they're not, I wouldn't say like, I have no idea how closely they would work, but it sounds like almost like he trusts
I
the
feel
person that's lording over him.
I feel confident that if he's working on it, he's going to get to do what he wants to do.
Yeah. So I went from being like, Quiet Place spinoff to, ooh, that sounds cool. Like, that actually could spark something. Because the other thing is, I mean, if on the flip side, if you look at Krasinski's career and what he's trying to do, I mean, these are his movies. So it almost, you know, I thought it was just kind of, he just wrote and directed a movie because why not? He's talented. But it actually is seeming like, as he's trying to build this out, like maybe he's actually like, maybe he's got a longer plan. Like, he's already got a plan for not just the movies, but for his career. You know, like, obviously, like, you see actors step into directorial roles, you know, sometimes they separate back out, or sometimes they become more directors than actors, or trying to balance them. But I can see, you know, as the pieces are starting to come together, I can see kind of a longer term plan. You know, like, what if they are trying to build this into a world, into a series that he can produce, and, you know, something that can really bolster his career. Not that he would move out of acting, but, you know, to really kind of, I guess, move up the ladder in terms of legacy. So, I mean, I'm, like I said, I went from being like, to like, oh, I can see that. So, yeah. But,